Right before we started this episode, David almost gave the farm away. He almost told us what he thought of tonight's movie right away. You're like, what's going on? Why are you here? How did I stumble into this? My podcast player was playing this thing, a TED Talk, and now I'm in Binge-Watchers podcast land? Yeah, it happens sometimes. You stumbled into Binge-Watchers podcast. You got Johnny Spoiler here. I want to let you know, I only spoil the movies that I love. Jordan Savage, she's so savage, she'll review a movie without having seen it. And then you got David, Dangerous Dave. Hopefully he'll drop some dangerous details about tonight's movie, and that's basically how things go on this show. So, what do you think, David? We'll start the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
All right. Tonight's episode is brought to you by ZocDoc.com. You can go to ZocDoc.com/spoiler. Get the ZocDoc app for free. You can also try AG1, which is AG1 by Athletic Greens. You can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 travel packs. Go to athleticgreens.com/spoiler. Check out that deal. And it's also brought to you by the new Cube, which drops April 11th on Screambox. More about the new Cube later on in the show, but first we're going to home video headlines. We'll crack open a few features about what's going on in the world of TV and movies. Reagan, how do you say her name, Dave? Is it Reagan?
Reagan,
like the president. Okay.
Yeah.
Reagan from the original Exorcist, supposedly going to drop into the direct sequel Exorcist. It's coming from the people that, well, depending on which side of the fence you landed on, either screwed up Halloween or revitalized Halloween, but their team is going to attempt to do a direct sequel to the original Exorcist, and supposedly Linda Blair is going to show up, which is cool, because they were going to have the mom, like, that's cool, that actress was really good, but then to get Linda Blair herself, who we haven't seen since maybe Exorcist 2, is that one called The Heretic? Or freaking Repossessed, which is a comedy version of The Exorcist. And Jordan, if there's only one version of The Exorcist you have time to see, go watch Repossessed.
Okay.
With Liam Neeson, the comedy version of The Exorcist.
Wait, did you say Liam Neeson?
No, it's the other guy. What's his name?
It's Leslie Nielsen. Although now I
Nielsen.
want a version of Repossessed with
Did I say Liam Neeson? Did I say that?
I was going to say, is this like some sort of, action-packed Exorcist twist? But
we slipped into an alternate dimension, and it's been Liam Neeson the whole time. Because my understanding is that machine that we have is strong enough to slide us into alternate realities whenever it wants. Do you know this, David?
No, tell me.
Bernstein Bears?
Oh, the
Kazam?
What is
the
that? What is that phenomenon?
Collider thing or whatever that rips apart particles or whatever the hell it does. When that kid wrote a science project, it slides us into alternate dimensions. Yeah. Go right ahead. It's like all the sequels to that freaking monster movie that never have anything to do with the monster. Cloverfield.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Where we screwed around and we slid ourselves into the alternate dimension filled with a bunch of creatures that you barely see. That's something you don't have to binge watch, Jordan, is the Cloverfield movies, because none of them they do like it takes till like the fourth movie to tie into the original.
Bring it on.
The fourth movie?
We were just talking about leveling up, so maybe this is the task to prove.
Dave, they didn't get to 4 yet? Isn't the 4 the one in space?
I thought that was number 3, because there was Cloverfield and there was 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I feel like
those two are pretty solid. But then,
however, did you ever see the comedy Scott Pilgrim, which is based on a comic book? Jordan, have you seen that one?
No, I don't think I have.
It's actually like a video game. Like Scott Pilgrim levels up in the movie. He gets like plus lives and all this stuff, and he gets like magic coins, kind of like Mario. And so the general premise of that is like he meets a girl, he likes her, he wants to start dating her, And kind of a foul play, he does technically like dump the girl he's with.
Mm-hmm.
Who, the ones that comes around, like you find out at the end of the story. I'm going to spoil Scott Pilgrim right now in an episode we're not talking about Scott Pilgrim on. He was supposed to be with that girlfriend the whole time. Anyway, he thinks he's going to get with this other girl, and she has 7 evil ex-boyfriends, and they all have superpowers. And so he has to like level up to deal with them. It's a very freaking entertaining movie.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. Like, and vegans in that movie have lasers that shoot out of their fingers, and like,
because they're just better.
Yeah. Anyway, it's in
Sounds
Canada.
right up my alley.
I think the writer might be Canadian, but anyway, so the entire freaking cast, which includes one of the Culkins who's on the Succession show, and
Michael Cera,
who's the main guy, Scott, and like everybody. It looks like everybody who was in the movie. Oh, including Captain America. What's his name?
Oh, Chris Evans.
Yeah, even Chris Evans coming back.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and the guy who played Superman in the Superman movie, nobody cares about it anymore, but he was also in the DC TV shows.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, who plays like a really funny dude in Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
That's right.
That's another movie you can go ahead and see, Jordan, if you haven't already seen it. What else is going on? Oh, here's an obscure movie that I don't think anybody has seen, but maybe but me. The Mole People by Universal, a lesser known of the classic horror movies. It's from like 56. They're remaking it for some reason. Like, it's not even a hot property. It's not like suddenly there's like Mole People Funko Pops or like any like Mole People TV show on Netflix, or you know what I mean? There's no conceivable interest in why are you suddenly making a remake of the Mole People?
I actually, if you recall, within the last year, I did a staff pick of Saul of the Mole Man, so it's still deep.
All right, but that's an Adult Swim show where this guy does he get sucked into a computer, or he like goes down somewhere and there's mole people, right?
He basically goes down somewhere and there's mole people. Yeah. He gets drilled into the Earth's crust, basically.
Interesting.
But is that based on the Mole People movie from 56?
I wouldn't doubt if there's nods to it. I haven't seen it, so I can't confirm, but I would.
But there's no conceivable reason that there's like, we're gonna cash in on the Mole People movie. We'll get Brad Pitt fighting mole people and the Mole People. 2024. I don't see the reason why anyway.
I mean, this could be one of those things where like they're trying to expand like what remember they were trying to do the dark universe of like old Universal monsters. Maybe they're just trying to do this with like the lower level.
The lowest tier.
Yeah. They got Renfield coming out, which isn't even Dracula himself. It's his assistant.
It's possible Universal is trying to figure out like how to cash in, like Paramount is cashing down on like their Star Trek properties, like they're milking all their stuff. They're like, how do we cash in? What do we got? And they have all the monsters, but nobody's been able to figure it out. If you're Harry Potter fans, they're getting closer to an HBO deal where there's going to be a Harry Potter TV show.
Interesting.
You got your wand ready there, Jordan?
Well, I just don't think you should do certain things. You know what I'm saying? But I guess I'd be like down to watch.
No, not unless like it becomes just like an hour-long drama of like them entering middle age or whatever. Like, like
Harry
trying
Potter
to get them
to pay taxes.
Right.
He's like trying to work out a spell so he doesn't have to pay taxes.
Like, who's the soccer mom or no Quidditch mom?
Okay, you're selling me on the idea. I'm curious, of course. Who isn't? I feel like, but
I want a show about the bad wizards only. On the bad boys.
So Severin or I'm not
the street wizards, the wizards that can't get into the school because they're just that bad. You know what I'm saying, David?
So basically, you want like a Slytherin
like Bella
house
Lestrange,
show?
yeah, and
but I want it to be like Michael Jackson's Bad, or even the parody song of Bad. What is it? Eat It?
No, Fat.
Oh, Fat. Okay, yeah. So I want something that's just like they don't play by the rules, and they couldn't get accepted into the fancy school, so they're like. They have homemade wands, I think that's
they're like fun. Putting on leather spiked gloves and then holding a wand.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then they'll have to have like little gang names instead of like houses. They'll have to. Like...
Oh, hear me out. Make it like the Lost Boys, but just with those wizards.
Now Now we're really cooking with something, and now the property value of this has gone way up.
The wheels
But
are turning.
I don't think HBO's got the balls to do a show like that.
But HBO is owned by Warner Brothers, who owns both The Lost Boys and Harry Potter. I think they can make it happen
Interesting.
if they really want to do it.
Well, now you're smashing it up. You're squeezing all the juice out of that lemon.
Hey,
Well-
they like to squeeze any juice out of properties, and I've got an idea. So give me money.
But HBO is doing this Harry Potter show.
Oh,
And
yeah,
people
that's
will-
real, actually. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, but like they're the
But-
ones who are doing the show. It's
yeah,
not
it's
like
HBO,
another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I think HBO can pull a lot of things off. So you got me hooked
I
now.
got some
So
faith in the HBO.
well, you know what? I watched some other things that are pretty good by them.
Speaking of what's pretty good, is the new Beavis and Butthead was good, and it already has a season 2, and it's dropping this month. Dave, did you
Yeah.
know this?
I did actually because
I didn't
they're
know
dropping
this.
it on 420. They know their audience.
Makes sense.
Oh man, they're definitely marketing that, right? Like that's specific.
Well, that's when the new, just like the guys we did the movie
The
last
Beer
week.
Fest guys, yeah.
Their new movie
Or
comes out.
Quasimodo
that day.
movie, same thing. 420,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
They know
Super Troopers.
They know who their audience is.
Where are we? We've arrived at tonight's movie. It's Corvette Summer. I would say an enterprising escort played by Annie Potts in a van. She picks up a teen played by Mark Hamill. He's on his way to Vegas to try to look for a stolen Stingray. I have no idea what to predict that David is going to have for this movie, because like there's a little bit of background. He may have even tined it around, because we were talking about a person on another show recently in Dressed to Kill, and she's friends with one of the bit players in here. I would like to know if you're even going to mention Danny Bonaducci. Is he in your list?
He is not.
Because he plays the friend who accidentally forgets to monitor the car and gets it stolen.
I thought that was him, and for
Yeah.
some reason I don't
And
know. But
you might know him from Partridge Family or The Surreal Life or a couple of other
he was like a big radio
Breaking
DJ for a
Donnie
while.
Bonaducci or something, which I don't think it was like another thing.
Or like the Dr. Phil, not Dr.
Basically,
Phil,
like
Dr.
that guy comes of age when reality stars are just kicking off, and he was so volatile. They're like, get this guy a TV show right now. Give him another show. Give him another show. Give him another show. Anyway, he plays a bit character in this movie. He's basically the friend that takes his eye off the prize or whatever. He claims that he had the keys in his pocket and the car got stolen anyway. We don't know. But there's no movie if the car doesn't get stolen. You can have it now, Dave. You can tell us all about this movie.
All right. All right. So some facts about Corvette Summer. So both Mark Hamill and Annie Potts were actually in car accidents right before filming this. Mark Hamill broke his nose and Annie got pins in her legs. So
Wait, so is this the famous Mark Hamill car accident?
This is the famous Mark
Mark Hamill. It
Hamill.
happened before this movie. Okay.
I thought it happened after this movie, but no, it turns out it actually happened before this even filmed. So
Between the Star Wars.
Yeah, between the Star
one and
Wars.
Star
This
Wars.
was like the only movie he did between the two, Star
one of
Wars
his
and
only
Empire.
non-Star Wars movies.
Right, and then a lot of voice work later. No, and he still works. He's got a new movie coming out later this year.
So do you already want me to interrupt you and tell you that they had to write in an accident for his face in Star Wars 2?
I mean, if we were covering Empire Strikes Back, I mean, yeah. But if you want to go
Still
for it.
relevant for this. He got into a car accident and they had to write in a monster ripping his face apart in Empire Strikes Back, because like there's two Mark Hamills. If you see early Mark Hamill, they did a pretty good job reconstructing his face for the time when plastic surgery was like brand new. But
Well,
he looks
yeah,
like a
it
different
fooled me
person.
for most of this movie until I found out later. So,
yeah.
yeah. So what did they? He got attacked by a wampa. I think I was in my research. I was looking at.
Yeah, it's like some bear. It looks like a bear. It's like a big beast that lives in a cave. Knocks him off his little camel type thing. Star Wars fans are getting really pissed. I don't know the name of the creature. I don't know the name of the thing he was riding that he gets knocked off him.
Oh man.
Anyway.
So this was actually Annie Potts' first movie, and she actually received a Golden Globe nomination for this role. So this has some award prestige.
Wow, that's funny, because later on in my favorite bits I wrote, Annie Potts is great.
That's a favorite bit too. Yeah.
So actually, speaking of Mark Hamill, despite playing a just graduated teen, he was actually 26 when he made this movie. So he was way past high school but he pulled it off.
Was any Potts legally an adult?
I did not find that out. I should have looked that into.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it's not like what's her name.
So this movie took me down a weird path of like wanting to look up numbers because like a few things because salaries are mentioned in this movie. Like for instance, the teacher states that he gets a measly $13,000 a year as a teacher, right? Okay, fine. What does that equate to today? So I looked it up, and $13,000 a year salary then equates to about 60 grand today. So not a huge pay.
Which he's in. They're where? They're in Southern California somewhere, right?
I think they're in LA,
Ventura County or something. So even you would. There's no way.
Yeah. Now here, check this out.
You, your wife, and your children would have to be working to own a home in Southern California in 2023.
Yeah. But now check this out. Mark Hamill's character schemed we'll get into later, but like schemed these guys into paying him $850.
Wait, are you trying to justify the teacher being like a?
No. This isn't about justifying anything.
Let me see if inflation in the economy. We understand why Coach Johnson, was
I just wanted to know what the money
running stolen cars on the side to the chop shop.
But check this out. Here's where the teacher is stupid because he hooked Mark Hamill's character up with an $850.
I heard Camel too.
Mark Hamill. Oh man,
a cigarette, David.
Somebody needs to Photoshop that one. Mark Hamill. He got Mark Hamill's character an $850 a week job. Now, what that equates to today would be about $184,000 a year. Why isn't he trying to get that job? Like, why is he still working as a teacher pulling that scam?
But he also gets money from the stolen cars. He didn't say how much.
Of course, but
he gets per car.
Yeah, but like, how many cars do they put out a year? It's a school. Like, what, one?
I would think the teacher gets more from the stolen cars than he offered. There's no way they offered the new guy in the garage who's been a pain in their ass more money than the rest of them are making from ripping off these cars.
He's also a hot commodity, so he was kind of getting a pay bump there for being the best.
However, in real life, that dude ends up in the trunk of a car. There's no way he gets a job. As soon as he uncovers the conspiracy between the high school and the chop shoppers in Vegas, that kid's just on a missing persons poster. You know what I'm saying? Like, one-way ticket,
There's a lot of desert to be buried in there.
It was Mojave, Henderson area, outside of Vegas.
Well, they did that.
Let's not give them a play-by-play. Write this down, kids. Here's your instructions. We got to disappear Joey. Here we go.
Right. But okay, last bit of numbers I'll go into is this movie's kind of forgotten today, but this was actually a pretty big hit when it came out. It made 36 million, which doesn't sound a lot, but again, I had to see what that comes to today. And basically, this is the equivalent of a movie making 166 million today. So this movie was actually pretty big for being kind of just a movie with the guy from Star Wars and a car.
Wow.
David has evaluation calculators on this episode. This is hilarious. He's like, I just wanted to take it by the number.
Well, I don't know. Something it sent me down one of those weird rabbit holes. I'm like, 13,000. I'm like, well, what is that? Because I made $13,000 a year in like 2006, and which was nothing then too. But I was just really curious. Like, was that not a lot? I mean, like, it's not the best. It's not the worst. Although where he lives is not the best.
All
Anyways,
right. We'll be right back after these messages. We got a few of them. They're gonna come flying at you from all different directions. So here we go. Our next partner is Athletic Greens. I've been taking AG1 by Athletic Greens for about 2 weeks now. I gave AG1 a try because, no, this is a secret. Don't tell anyone. I have a secret passion for probiotics, but I actually appreciate that their probiotics are non-dairy. Do I take AG1 in the morning? Well, yeah, you can, but I'm not a morning guy. I avoid mornings if I can. I take it in the afternoon, but before I do anything else, before the coffee, the energy drinks, any work I got to do, AG1 first. It's actually designed so you can live healthier and better without having to do a lot. Every scoop is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients. It's the healthiest thing you can do in about under a minute. I notice it helps me with my mood, actually. My comedy style is satire. If you've listened to the show, you know this. However, I can get a little down sometimes. I was actually surprised that AG1 brought me back up, shifted the mood, made it a little bit lighter, and that's what I'm looking for. I'll be looking for that again with AG1. It's 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once a day. AG1 is delivered to me every month, so it's been easy to rotate it into my habits. Now, if you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/spoiler. That's Athletic Greens. ZocDoc is the free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and they're available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. When you're not feeling your best and you're just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all your energy. Go to ZocDoc.com/spoiler and download the ZocDoc app for free, then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/spoiler. ZocDoc.com/spoiler. If you're extremely unlikely to find quality medical advice in your group chat, like if you're cruising social media and your Facebook group doesn't have the answer, you can probably find a doctor with the real answer on ZocDoc. They'll help you find expert doctors and medical professionals that specialize in the care you need and deliver the type of experience that you want. Instead of listening to how are you feeling or helping you along the way, the doctor's going to be checking in on the clock. On ZocDoc, you'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care. Go to ZocDoc.com/spoiler and download the ZocDoc app for free. You know, instead of being on a NyQuil drip, what I should have just done was go to ZocDoc, because I've been questioning why I was sick for like 4 or 5 days. What I should have done was just use the app that I have installed on my phone. Better thinking next time. Maybe I'll get better results with ZocDoc. What else is going on? Screambox will stream Cube, a Japanese remake of the 1997 Canadian cult classic, on April 11th as a Screambox original. It will also be available on VOD platforms the same day as Cinedigm and Bloody Disgusting. Cube joins Screambox's growing library of unique horror content, including The Outwaters, Terrifier 2, Living with Chucky, 13 Nights of Elvira, Reanimator, Sleepaway Camp, Hell House, Pennywise, The Story of It, and Toxic Crusaders. You can start streaming with Screambox on iOS, Android, Prime Video, Roku, YouTube TV, Samsung, Comcast, Cox, and Screambox.com. And I think Jordan wanted to mention this one. There's the Screambox original Living with Chucky available. Actually, now. That one came out April. Well, it comes out tomorrow on Screambox. And we have a Q&A with the director, the filmmakers. But I was going to talk about that later, but I guess I'll just tell everybody now. We get a chance to view Living with Chucky, and we're going to do like a little more in-depth. We're going to do some Chucky episodes this month, so stay tuned for that. Now back to the... I don't know why this is freezing. Oh, no, we're actually here. I just have to take this file away. Oh, there we go. All right.
Yay.
That still image just looked like the last known taken photo of somebody.
What? Oh, they got me. They finally got me. It's over with.
What basement are you in?
I don't know. We're back to the podcast already in progress. We're about to drop some favorite bits from Corvette Summer. And it sounds like we like the movie. So, I mean, if you're taking bets, I think we're leaning a certain way. But anyway, let's go with our favorite bits and see where it's going.
All right, kicking us off, I would say my favorite bit is the first night that they stay together in the van. I just think that the whole scene's super cute. He's super nervous. I love Annie Potts' character, Vanessa. I love that she's this, like, you know, I guess, lady of the night in training. And she's really just trying to put her moves on him. There's all the scenes are fun, bright colors. It's all the things that make me feel like super like nostalgic and just good. And yeah, all around super, super fun. Lots of good bits in the movie. What about you, Dave?
Oh man, this is like Bits the movie. Like I really love. In fact, I actually took it on a post-it, and I just stopped at a point because I'm like, look, I got enough bits. I don't need to talk about the whole movie, basically. But I will say that, like,
You realize that's a bold statement to say that this is Bits the movie, though, right? Because we've reviewed over 300 movies.
I know, but like
plus our staff picks.
Well, because like this almost feels like it's like this movie felt like kind of an odyssey. Like it just went from like set piece to set piece to set piece, like different characters. So I don't know. That's kind of why it feels, because it feels like the movie changes every 10 minutes or so. Like we introduce some new characters or a new situation. He's got a new job. So that's
I would agree. There's a lot of evolution between their characters, you know. Right. I like that he claims her at the end. So that was super cute.
And I guess this is unfair. When I took this note, I didn't realize he had his accident before this movie. But I did note, like, wow, there's some parts where he really does look convincing as a teenager. And then there's other times he just looks like a grizzled 37-year-old with a mortgage and an ulcer.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'd say his accident set his face forward like 10 years.
Right. Oh. Poor guy. I mean,
he was like a Pretty Boy magazine cover idol. It's like almost like I don't know if he almost died. He might have. I just remember it was like a really bad situation. Really bad. Like it was written down as a really bad accident.
Yeah. But as far as favorite bits, there's a moment when I think there's a dance or an event going on and he's alone with the car and single light. And he just looks like, again, I think in some of the scenes, you could replace the music with like tense music and it becomes a thriller or a horror movie. Cause he's just like, he's looking over the car, like just crazed, like a nut.
Well, he's like obsessed.
Yeah, he's very obsessed with this car. Yeah. But my favorite line of all time in this movie is
Oh man,
is it gonna be this?
We might be stepping over on my favorite bit.
Oh no,
I think I know the one.
Do it.
I didn't want Cokes. Who said I was thirsty?
Oh yeah. I'm not trying to get something to drink. That's the line, David. That's the exact line. You know why? You know why, David?
No, I wrote it down. This is the exact line that I chose.
You know why? You know why? Because we have a mutual history with this movie called Night Riders, which is about a theater show on motorcycles with Ed Harris, who plays King Arthur. And in one scene, he's trying to get over drug addiction, and he's yelling at, I think, the actress playing Guinevere, and he's like, I'm not trying to be an entertainer. I'm fighting the dragon. So anytime there's an actor who takes it like one step too far over the top, dramatically, we always drop back to, I'm not trying to be an entertainer. I'm fighting the dragon. That's like if we said, I'm not trying to be a podcaster. I'm fighting the dragon. Exactly. It's like that. It's that level. So when he goes, I'm not trying to get a drink, and smashes the fountain drink everywhere and spills the soda, and then almost goes to jail for assault and battery of his friend, who we mentioned was the Bonaducci guy.
Bonaducci, yeah.
Like, it's an unhealthy obsession. Like, he almost dies to get the car back. Oh, man. So I agree with Dave. The line is the favorite bit, but also
he's never been with a woman though, and that's like why the
he's a virgin.
Yes, yeah. And that's why the whole like first night they spent together is like so funny to me.
Well, that's why he's obsessing over the car. He's building a car in the high school mechanic shop because he doesn't know what to do with the hormones. Okay, like he's like I'm gonna put in 60 hours on this car because I don't got a girlfriend. We're gonna spend all this time in the gym. Okay, like that's it. Anxious teenage energy. Mark Hamill.
It's pretty great.
One more bit. So when he rescues her at the end of the movie, she's wearing flippers, and she talks about she just wants to take them off because they're running through the casino, but he has to rescue her from the porn set. And she's like in a bathtub with the flippers on. Visually, it was always stunning and funny at the same time.
Well, yeah. Well, let's talk about the end of this movie just real quick. I mean, just like the last 20 minutes, because all of a sudden this movie becomes like Scarface and Boogie Nights. Like he's like, "Hey, I've got it made. I'm making all this money. Hey, make out with. Here's your money." Like,
wait, what?
No, I agree. Right? Like, well, he's like trying to be the guy that she's always trying to get because she's obviously, lady
like she really likes him, but yeah.
And she was pissed when he was like, "Let me pay you," and she,
But yeah, he's like, I don't know. Like I said, the best thing I can say is like it becomes Scarface all of a sudden. Like I got the money now.
His porno eyeglasses too.
So Yeah, so when he shows up as like the Lothario or whatever, and he's pretending to work at the chop shop, and instead of getting murdered, he's like a goon. He's like a henchman, and then he gets the nice suit. They check into a nice hotel, but then again, like it's a nice break from like he's just been homeless the whole summer. You know what I mean? Working odd jobs, living in a U-Haul trailer. So it's a nice little break for both of them. But gosh. I feel like that's more like Mark Hamill style in that scene than pretending to be a virgin over a summer. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
That
agree.
scene is more like his repertoire, like his freaking resume is more like that scene, that sequence. You know?
Right. Oh, and then, like you said, like she basically gets kidnapped or whatever, taken against her will, if you will, and like made to make a porn. Like, what? Where did the end of this movie
Hired,
come from?
David. She was an actress. She looked really comfortable in the bath to me. I don't think there's anybody accusing her. We need an intimacy coordinator in this scene. Where are we? Oh, I was gonna mention that. Well, I already said earlier that she was great. I didn't know this was her first movie. David enlightened us all on that. But she's in Pretty in Pink. She's in Jumping Jack Flash. She's obviously in freaking Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2.
Designing women.
She was one of the 4 designing women in a show called Designing Women. She's also in another sitcom. I don't know if anybody's ever come across it, like on late night classic TV, called Love and War from the early 90s, which is pretty interesting. She's the lead in that one.
And I just watched an interview with her from like 2 years ago, and she said she was 70, and she does not look 70. Like, time's been very good to Annie Potts. I
feel like it's good to do a podcast about this movie because I haven't heard a podcast about this movie, and also I feel like it's a hidden gem. Like, it literally, what can I watch with Mark Hamill in it that isn't Star Wars? And then you go, oh, what about Corvette Summer? Or you like Annie Potts from Ghostbusters. Has she done something else? Oh, yeah, she's done this TV show. What else has she done? Oh, my gosh. She's freaking Vanessa, a.k.a. Eleanor, in freaking Corvette Summer. Like, what's up? We can rate it now, I think. I think we have arrived at our rating system, which is binge now. You got to watch it now. Binge later. Get to it later or never. Don't watch it at all. Don't see the stinker. Although I think I know which way we're going because Dave said it has all the bits.
You're not wrong, Dave. I would call it a binge now, of course. Super grateful I have this in a hard copy, although I cannot quite watch it on my Blu-ray that I don't own.
Paperweight Blu-rays.
But I will get one eventually, and I'll be glad to have this as physical media. So binge now for sure. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, it's binge now for me as well. I'd seen this one other time with John in person. I think like on an old worn out VHS, if I remember right. And it was good then, and it was even better today. I don't know, this movie.
Oh, did we
I really like this movie. Huh?
Did we track this movie down?
I think we got this from that little like video store that we love called the Video Store Named Desire, which is this hole in the wall video store in LA.
It used to play on TV a lot, like in the middle of the night.
I never even heard of it until we rented it, or in something like that. Yeah, this is like a fun movie. Like, I'm surprised people who like Star Wars don't know this more. Even
it's a good movie if like you're like scrolling through 200 titles and you're waiting for your next episode of your show, and it's 3 days from now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like 2 a.m. Can't sleep, but pop in Corvette Summer.
But you know, you said that this was like
you own it. If you're good enough to 1%ers that own the Blu-ray players, if you're not rich, you're rich, and you don't got a Blu-ray player, then you'll just have to on demand it or something.
Yeah. But you know, this movie kind of should live on cable. I'm sorry.
If you hold the Blu-ray up to your forehead, you can watch the movie with your brain. You just press the DVD to your. That'd be great. There's a movie about growing organs. If you could just grow your own DVD player. It's a Cronenberg movie, David.
Well, there's a few
about extra organs. The newest one, the one that he based on a movie he already made. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There's kind of an embargo on the Cube on Screambox till April 11th, so we maybe suggest what we think of it. I think it's like a dazzling version of the original Cube. Like, it's like the cleaned up, fancy Squid Games like version of the Cube. I crammed cubes down Jordan's throat and said, like, try to watch all these cubes. So I would actually like to hear, and like, unless she's gonna drop a different staff pick. Are you telling us about the original cube, or are you gonna pick something else?
Yeah, I'll talk about the original cube.
Yeah, I want to hear Jordan's perspective on the original 1997 cube.
Quentin literally shook me to my core. He was such a terrifying character. When he like separates the younger girl, I forget what her name is, from the rest of the pack, and he's like touching her on her neck. Just
wait, a little bit of background. Quentin's the big ex-policeman.
The big ex-policeman. Yeah. And that was interesting.
And the movie, folks, is people are trapped inside of a cube that
right.
rotates, and the floors change, and they have to climb through them, and there's booby traps.
And in the original, it seems like their roles in real life is important to the storyline, which I think is interesting, even though this big tough cop man is the scariest one of them all and becomes completely unhinged.
Well, he goes from hero to villain over the course of like 70 minutes, right?
But was he really a hero in the first place?
Okay, well, I feel like he was trying to hold it down, and then like he just started to go rage-a-hall, you know? Like,
yeah, but you find out too in the storyline that like he's separated from his wife and his kids for like obviously anger issues, and so it's like, yeah, he scared me. He really scared me.
And then he crosses the line, and you can't come back from it.
And just spoiler.
Dave, you're awfully quiet, Dave. You got nothing to say about original cube?
Well, it's been a while since I've seen it, so like I don't want to like wait. I'm just listening.
I was shocked with who survives in the original cube. That was a big surprise. And who ends up dying, which is everybody else. So but yeah, it was definitely entertaining. It was entertaining.
Last week I forgot to mention staff picks, so sorry. We usually have staff picks, and I think I glossed over it last week. Also, I have one small course correction. We did Dress to Kill recently, and I said Nancy Allen was one of the ladies in Big Chill. She's not. Mary Kay Place is the actor in Big Chill I was thinking about. Yeah, Nancy Allen's not in that movie, but same generation. I imagine they went out on auditions because they're like two actors that are similar, you know. Like Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood, right? They're basically similar height, tone. They probably go out on a lot of different auditions. What's another good example? Dave, who's two actors that are similar but they're completely different?
The four Chris's.
All the Chris's?
Chris Pine, Chris Pratt. All those guys. All the Chris's.
They should be in a movie. That'd be a hell of a billing.
Well, there's of course Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott. Like,
they're
not
really
only have
close.
Similar sounding names, also look very identical.
They look alike, yeah. And they're probably out on the same auditions, like I said, same generation, probably going on for the same part. There's a tie-in to this movie though, because Nancy Allen was friends with Wendy Jo Sherber or whatever, and there's like maybe a foundation, or one time there was like a nonprofit because she dies of cancer or something. She's one of the friends building the Corvette in the beginning of the movie. But she's like a teeny bopper actor. Now we can circle back. Sorry, Jordan. I know you were telling us about your thoughts on the original Cube.
It was good. Entertaining. Definitely glad I watched it. So
nice. And again, Jordan's like leveling up because we're just like, oh, yeah, just go ahead. Casually watch 3 or 4 movies this week. No problem.
Yeah, because I'm the novice movie watcher. Sometimes I have extracurriculars. So yeah, got to catch up.
You've achieved level 47. I don't know what the ranking is because I don't know. We'd have to make up like character rankings. We'll ask ChatGPT like, hey, turn our show to an RPG. Like, what are we? Are we like thieves, paladins, warriors, dwarfs? Like, what is our mystical rankings? We'll have to find out. AI.
Oh, AI. All right, I guess so.
Do you watch anything else besides the movie the week, Dave?
I did. I don't know. Do you want to hear about a shameful screening of my own or about a new bingeable TV show?
Shameful screening. Shameful screening.
All right.
Jordan's all about shame. So
I had one as well over the last couple of weeks. That is pretty
Okay.
interesting, but I'll let you go, Dave.
So because we watched Dress to Kill, it sent me down a rabbit hole of Brian De Palma movies I haven't seen. And for years, I dismissed Scarface because, I don't know, I was young and couldn't get into it. And I never popped in VHS number 2. And I said, all right, I'm an adult. I need to watch Scarface, so at least I can say I've seen it. And it's all right.
You have the 2 edition VHS copy of Scarface?
Well, my brother did, and I
those 2
borrowed it
tapes?
from him. I borrowed it from him, and I watched the first tape, and I'm like, I'm good.
So you only watched? Did you watch it to the chainsaw death, and then the movie cuts out?
I saw that. That's like that's on the first VHS.
Yeah, so you thought the movie ended with he kills a guy in a bathroom with a chainsaw?
No, it goes way
like
past that. That's like in the first half hour, 45 minutes. I don't know. The VHS went way past the chainsaw scene, but long story short, I just never felt like finishing the movie. So, but hey, I was a young kid, and kids are stupid.
So you thought the movie had a happy ending until you finally watched it?
Yes, exactly. Like, hey, he's got all the money now.
He got the girl. He didn't go to jail, and his best friend didn't betray him. And then you're like, you put in the second tape, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Although, this is one of those few times where, like, I guess I can kind of see, because losing out or watching this on a VHS you kind of like takes away half of like what makes the movie great, of like how, like we talked about on Dress to Kill, De Palma does these great camera shots and, zoom ins.
You're saying the scope is shrunken down?
Yeah, it's shrunken down a lot. Like there's stuff in this and like, oh, I didn't get to see that on a
You know what's
VHS.
Great on VHS? Every horror movie made on video, Like there's like a slew of like, I don't know, 50 or so slasher movies that were shot on video specifically, between 1980 and 1995 or whatever. And they're like boxy as hell, and there's tracking lines. You can't see this, folks, if you're just listening. David took time away to walk away from the mic and go to his tower of
I was trying to find an
videos
example.
in
I
the
have
background.
an example somewhere here to show you
Oh man,
that type of movie.
Here, Dave, I'll
That
give
would
you
require
time
me to stand, and I don't know if I want to do that.
We'll give you time to look. Asshole managed to find something in the course of playing the outro song. What do you got there? What is it, David?
Gotta get these damn headphones back on.
Oh,
He fumbled.
Yeah,
I
these
can't tell
ring
what it
lights
is.
work so great with DVDs. Things.
what?
It's a shot on VHS movie called Things. This is the type of movie you were just talking about.
Rated NC-17.
Yes, for deer nudity.
It would actually be more disturbing if the deer was wearing clothing.
Oh, because that means that deer have shame, I guess. They just develop shame over time.
Do animals feel shame?
Well, no, because they go around naked.
So we were doing this whole thing called Savage Spring Break, where it's spring break, but it's also going to be a little savage. And I'm actually vetoing the title. Folks, we were going to watch this thing called Psycho Beach Party, but I'm going to move that out of the way. We're going to bombard you next week with a bunch of Chucky stuff. We're going to do Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and Living with Chucky. And our Q&A with the director from the Living with Chucky documentary, all about the Chucky movies. Child's Play is the official title, whatever, of that franchise. And then we're going to go on a brief hiatus. I think we should take a week off and then come back for a Whitewater Summer and finish it out.
I love
We don't
it.
ever stop time, but I feel like we're going to. All right, Savage Spring Break, hashtag Savage Spring Break, hashtag David, hashtag deer nudity, hashtag shame because Jordan likes shame.
Sometimes.
Hashtag deer shame or animal shame.
That's pretty great, actually. What's your episode about? It's just about shaming animals.
For being nude. Yeah. How dare they?